Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Carla.
And we're the Smiley Twins. And today we are going to do something, well, a little different, but not really. We've got a ton of questions about
They're kind of personal.
Yeah.
Some people get pretty personal.
They do, and that's fine. Kind of a day in the life type of situation. I've tried to do one of those reels on Instagram, and I always forget because I forget to start. But apparently they're pretty trendy.
Start in the morning?
Yeah, but that's tough.
I can hardly, my gosh.
No, but much more in depth of kind of what a day in our lives look like. And I feel like we could speak to a larger audience if we talk about what a day maybe in our mobile injecting life looked like. Mm-hmm. And then also maybe what a day in our life looks like now, which are obviously two very kind of different situations. But, you know, a lot of our questions or the questions today literally are like, you know, how do you do that? What's work-life balance and stuff? And I'll repeat those, but we're going to kind of blend those into answering those questions today. So, for example, one is how do you manage work-life balance with kids and work and stuff? And so we thought we'd just get a little less formal and less specific and talk a little bit more about kind of work-life balance, both as kind of executives of the company, but then I want to start with going back to kind of just a day in the life of a mobile injector, because I think
first give a little back, remind everybody like a little bit of like,
who's
at home?
Huh?
Like you have kids, you have a husband.
Oh, okay. So I do. I have 2 children. I have 2 boys, a 1.5-year-old and a 3.5-year-old. They'll both be 2 in December. Their birthdays are 2 days apart, on the 21st and the 23rd.
Poor planning.
I don't want to talk about it.
Poor planning.
They both came early, so didn't plan anything. Okay. I do have a lovely supporting husband. He works for Smiley, or works with Smiley now, which is really amazing, and has worked out very well for us. And yeah, I got a couple dogs. One's old as dirt. Another one's a Rottweiler, and my father-in-law lives with us in our home too. So he has his own apartment in our home, and that's kind of my home life situation. So all that to say, I say that very calmly and stuff, it's pure chaos. I mean, my dog days in the best way possible.
You, I know this is nitty gritty, but you live only about 5 minutes from our Nashville West location. You live probably 20 minutes from here. I think some of that's important because people do literally look at the day and they're like, how, do things work? And I want to kind of talk about what we don't do or don't, like the things that you have to do that are included in, let's say, a 15-hour day.
15 hours, is that how long it is?
Yeah, pretty much. We can count. Maybe 14.
13? We'll say 14.
I get up at 6 a.m. and I pretty much go to bed at 10.
Well, some days I get up much earlier than that. Okay, anyhow, point being, you'll get it's the general idea. And then I'm kind of going to roll back. You know, our days as a mobile injector, it's very simple, I think.
Do we want to tell my background, what I have at home?
Yeah. I guess.
Don't laugh at us. Okay, I have 2 boys as well. Mine are 7 and 5, which brings its own challenges, but also its own differences in relation to the ages. In a lot of ways that she's jealous of right now, but also brings its own.
I'm not jealous, so I don't want to waste away time.
No,
nobody get excited. Not wishing away time.
Yeah. And then I also have 2 dogs. One that is older than hers, Tessa Ronopona.
No,
and
they're the same age.
No, she's older than Jack by several months. You got her after me because you were copying me. And then I have Daisy, who's a Labradoodle.
Literally the same age.
Labradoodle, who's
I think she's 2 months older than Jack.
2.5.
Maybe. Also, you don't even know her Jack's birthday.
Yeah, it was April. It's like April 1, and Jack's is like in October.
You are correct.
Yeah, so in fact, like 6 months.
It's in 7 days.
Oh.
I'll be 13.
Tessa's already 13 because she's older.
Is she though? Because I was wondering if he was going to be 14. He'll be 13.
Yeah, she's going to be 14. So she's 13, yeah. Okay. He'll be 13.
Sweet little nugget.
Anyway, and then a 2.5-year-old Labradoodle, and then my husband. He does not work for Smiley.
My 3rd child.
He has a very demanding job at a prominent high school in town. So, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I'm going to kind of skip over the mobile part because very soon we will actually, I think it's a great idea. We're going to have a couple of we're going to start interviewing people now that we've kind of established a little bit, I think, of the different episodes. One being
people tired of listening to us.
Yeah, one of our mobile injectors come on an employee, will definitely, and then, nurse practitioner, kind of her take on the things. And we're definitely going to have a couple different interviews coming up next week. Courtney, our chief legal officer, is back in town, so I'm going to go ahead and say that next week she will be in the podcast, which is amazing. I think with all three of us, if we can get the mic situation worked out.
And then we're going to get an outside perspective from an attorney.
We got an outside attorney coming in. Yeah, so we've got some
So
good
that's going to be
interviews
fun.
coming up.
That's going to be valuable.
Yeah.
This may not be as valuable, but you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, this may not be that valuable to you, but there's a stop button. You just keep on scrolling. So, day in the life. So, work-life balance for us is so important. We got a little personal a couple episodes ago, if you haven't seen that, because I think the first thing to speak to, and I don't want to go into it because we literally just did, but it's just that, like, your work-life balance is just that. It's your work-life balance, and what is most important to you is not most important to other people, and
they're going to have an opinion about it.
There's going to be, trolls come in all forms, and troll is such a negative, but it can be your family members, your best friends, your strangers. When I say troll, I just mean somebody who basically has an opinion, typically negative, on what you're doing. And so, people are going to have a say in what they think is how much time you're spending with your kids, how much time you're spending with your husband, how much time you're spending at home and at work. And like I said, if you want to, we have a strong opinion on that. And if you want to see that a few episodes ago, and it was a little different too. But
the point is, work-life balance is different for everybody. And it was different for us when we were doing mobile injecting.
Right, which I thought we were going to go into, but I mean.
Well, what's important about that, I will say one thing about it. When we were doing mobile injecting, and I still had, you were on maternity leave when we started this, so she got lucky and just said, I'm just going to kind of do this full time, even though she had a new baby. So I don't know how lucky that was. But I was still working full time at HCA, at a very demanding job. And by doing, the mobile appointments, it was either after work, a lot of them on Saturdays, or just to be quite frank, when I was working from home, I would typically see a couple clients, like on my lunch break and stuff like that, and maybe during some other slow periods. Don't anybody write that down. I mean, she's seriously eating Gushers. You could wait until after.
Work-life balance. I need a snack. I get hangry. So
work-life balance. I take care of my body and don't eat plastic.
Every now and then you should just eat what you want.
So anyways, please don't crinkle that by your microphone. Stop.
Okay, so.
I'm distracted by their whispering and crinkling. So anyways, I did those appointments I'm just kidding. I'm not. Y'all can whisper away. That was a joke. But the mobile clients, so filled them in where I could. And it was not a healthy, super healthy time. And I think that's true about it's where a lot of the business negative comments come about owning your own business, because in the beginning, if you are kind of in the bootstrap mentality like we were, and like a lot of injectors are, you're working you're working your normal job, and then you pick this up and you try to get your client base rolling before you.
Yeah, it's just, sorry, I was trying to agree with you on that.
Yeah,
I literally almost choked on that. That would have been funny to have on the podcast. Almost choked.
Yeah, so it's just it's a lot at that time, and that was from February and through what we have now until like September of last year. And funny story, I actually got fired from my job, not from HCA. I actually transitioned to another role, and pretty quickly after, like 10 weeks in, got fired. And still not totally sure why. Not sure why at all. Could have something to do with Smiley Aesthetics. Possibly.
Well, turns out it was the best thing ever. So it was she might still be doing that job now. Who knows? That'd be terrible. Can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how it happened. And what's funny is, I mean, of course, it was awful, and was terrified. But what I always tell all of our injectors, and what I think is so important to hear as we transition into like a current day in the life, is that once I did turn my full attention to my business and to Smiley, it was unbelievable what we could do. So we were able to do a lot with half my time and all of Mary's time, which is still more than a lot of people have to offer, or I guess probably half Mary.
And half of Courtney's time.
But turning your full attention to your business really changes things, and I can't say that enough, because those people who are at that crossroads, and if you're in aesthetics and you're at a crossroads, take the leap. Almost any business. I mean, if you are
take the responsible leap.
Yeah,
of course,
if you're have traction, and you're doing something with that, take the leap.
Yeah.
I mean, be safe, yes, for your family, all the health insurance. I mean, there's a million things you have to consider, but taking the leap was the best thing that ever happened to me and to our business. So, okay, today.
That might be a good topic too to do one day. Is taking the leap.
What does that look like?
And what you should consider. Yeah, when you're going from, having the benefits and the and all the things, and maybe
Yeah.
then you're going to do the LLC, and really kind of maybe that's a good tie-in.
Yeah, I mean, people don't often think about like total compensation packages. People get flustered by that, and they get flustered by like, oh, it's what I make, and it's then a company will put on paper, no, this is your total compensation package, and it's more than double what you're actually making. But like then when you go to quit that job and work for yourself, all of a sudden you're like, oh,
You're losing the total compensation
does matter.
package. Yeah, it's not just the take-home
yeah,
pay.
that double my take-home pay does in fact matter. I was the 401k, the health insurance,
it's a lot.
benefits to discounts at the gym. I mean, it is a lot of considerations. Lunches that were free in the cafeteria or snacks or whatever, all that money that you are now having to spend because they know, free lunches in your business.
And it adds up. I mean, it's not to say you have to try to calculate everything that you're getting, for free over here with this job while you go to your aesthetics business. But it's still just something to be mindful of for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, our days I think look very similar, not because
they
we're
look
just
identical.
twins. They are identical. They're very similar because we do exercise together right now for the most part. We do a lot of things with our families together. So it's going to be easy to kind of my day versus her day. But I think both of our days start at very similar times because
let's run through it
okay, so because of the age of my kids
and mine.
Well, your kids are old enough now to go downstairs and watch TV for 5 minutes.
Still getting up in the morning with them.
Well, yeah, but I mean 6:30 is a lot different than 5:30. Now, hold on. My point was going to be, before it's not a competition, was going to be that I like getting up early and I super promote it. Now, I think there's early birds and all that stuff, but can I just say if you get on a routine of getting up early in the morning that my children have forced me to be on, although I will say being in anesthesia, I was already on that routine prior, so it was very easy for me to it's just been forever. I'll never set an alarm clock ever again. I wake up pretty much at the same time every day if I get to sleep in. And so because of my son waking up, my husband and I trade off, but between 5:30 and 6:30, even if I get up at that 5:30 mark, I rarely work. I'll just sit and snuggle with him that every other day. And then when I get up at 6:30, that's my sleep-in day. I just get up and go.
Yeah.
Really, right? So, wake up, I get a cup of coffee. One of the kids is up, if not both. Jack doesn't normally get up till about 7 right now. So it's kind of balls to the walls, honestly, for that hour. We try to get out the door between 7:15 and 7:30. So it's just getting up, getting ready, drinking coffee, and then I try to do as much as I can the night before for the kids. Sometimes I just simply
you got to pack lunches. You got to
do as much as I can to be ready for the day the night before. But I really do find value in, and I'm skipping around a little bit here, in either going to bed at that 9:30 mark, which is about what we do, or even a little bit earlier. And then waking up early, like at 5 a.m. when you have time to yourself in the morning, if you're a morning person, is amazing. Or that exercise time or whatever.
It is a pretty consistent time for a lot of people
to get stuff done.
Who have a job where during their day it's just nothing but fires, which is what
similar.
It's just constant. Yeah. It's a constant intrusion of inputs. And so at that hour, either in the morning or late or weekends, that's why people end up working at those times, is because no one's going to email you at that time, so you can get uninterrupted time. What do they say? An email interrupts you. It takes 7 minutes every time.
Something like that, which just makes me be like...
Every time someone sends you an email or speaks to you in the midst of a task, when you're locked in, it takes you 7 minutes to get back to the point of where you were. Yeah, so that's difficult. So then you take the kids to school and you...
Yeah, 6:30, then my husband takes one of the boys to school, and this is obviously a typical routine. There are different days, and then based on which, if I'm coming to the training facility or going to West, is kind of how we decide who takes the kids, because my day has a more structured start than necessarily Jonathan's. Once again, depends on the day. And then I usually get to any MedSpa around 8 o'clock or 8:15.
So let's go by that. My morning is
the exact same. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
No. We get up at 6 pretty much every day. Our son comes in. He wakes up between 5 and 6, and he is now forced to stay in his room, him and his brother. So they often wake up and they go into the other person's room, and Gabe will read him a book. It's precious. But they cannot come out until 6. He has a little watch, an alarm on his watch. So at 6 every single day, he comes into our room every single day, and says, "Can I go downstairs?" And I don't care how many times we've told that sweet little soul, this is Gabe, if you've seen him, Gabe, you don't have to come in and ask if you can go downstairs.
We should put a sign on the door that says,
It's-
just go downstairs.
I mean, it's been 6 o'clock.
We should try a sign. That'd be funny.
I mean, he is an automatic alarm clock. 7 days a week, 365 days a year, the boy's coming in at 6 o'clock. Sometimes he'll be like, oh, well, it's 6:01. I'm like, okay, well, took you an extra minute.
If you just put a sign and see if it works, if that says, Gabe, yes, you can go downstairs.
Yeah, well,
After he goes to bed.
it'd have to be on a Saturday, because then we'd have to, because he's our alarm clock. Not that I think we necessarily need one. But so then he goes downstairs, and yes, he is old enough. We don't watch TV in our household during the week, except they're allowed to watch TV in the morning. So he goes down and turns on the TV, which is helpful. I literally said yesterday, can we just see what happens when we don't turn the TV on in the mornings? I can't stand the TV. So parts of what I want to talk about here is the things that I don't do, because I was just telling Mercedes, it's great to someone say, look at all the things you do in your day, and how do you do all this? And it's like, well, this is my schedule. But I think it's more about all the things that you don't do, which is what allows time that if you really looked at your day and you were like, well, I just don't have time for that. And it's like, yeah, but you're filling up the same 14 hours I am. What is it that you're doing that I'm not doing? I think that,
Yeah.
So, a lot of people get up and watch TV or do something to start their day.
Yeah, that's true. And when I
can't imagine doing that.
Yeah, and then like I was saying,
I hate the TV. I want to kill it.
In the morning, unless I'm spending time with Miles, because he watches TV in the morning as well a little bit. It's really more just to occupy his time so that I can, we
Of
can
course,
continue
it
doing our
makes
thing.
the morning efficient.
I will sit and watch and snuggle with him. If it's not watching TV, that's just spending time with him. But when I get up at 6:30, and I don't know that I agree, like I wish, sometimes I do, like if setting my alarm at 6 every single day is something that I think I would implement soon. Once Miles also gets up during the night still, once or twice a night, and he just comes down and wakes me up, I take him back. Anyway, so I am getting that extra bit of sleep in the morning on those off days. But waking up at 6 to have 20 minutes of coffee and downtime might be nice, but I don't really function that way.
Yeah,
I'm like
I think that's
ball
important.
of
I think that's
sparkling
important.
energy.
Some people get up and they read and drink their cup of coffee and they just chill. And I'm like,
Some people
there's
do
no
that
chilling.
at 4 a.m. and that's great. But if
Yeah.
I got up at 4 a.m., I would work. If I got up at 6:30 or go run, I love working out in the morning. Currently, as you'll hear, our workout routine is in the afternoon. But like, oh my gosh, I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
But I have to get up and expend energy. I cannot get up and relax. That
Yeah.
is not. I do that as well. That's my nighttime stuff.
I mean, I roll over in bed and check bank accounts every morning.
That is exactly what I literally have a routine of what I
Every
check,
single morning.
and it literally is
Regions.
Yeah, get on our business stuff. Check. I get on the email real quick and filter through the spam that's coming overnight. Make sure no emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
Check our company messaging app. Make sure no emergencies.
Is
And
there
it's
an
the
email
same
I can fire off literally before my feet hit the ground that would just reduce something I had to do later in the day? And I check bank accounts. It sounds like probably people are, oh God. And it's like, no, because that literally defines some of the tasks of my day.
Yeah,
For
I
me
just-
personally, because I do a lot of our
I
financial
roll
stuff.
through it to see what Carla's mood's gonna be like today.
That is so inappropriate.
So anyway, okay. So we both have the same similar.
I don't talk to you about anything.
Oh, you still do.
Not lately, if you noticed.
Yeah, I know, but I still watch it. I know you.
So anyways, and then I will say this, I get usually a good solid chore or two done in the morning, like, and I have a great husband. He folds laundry, he puts it, I mean, he's not great at putting it away, but at least he folds it, and he cleans up the dishwasher, like he does activities. I will say that's a big part of this. For those of you who are like, yeah, my husband hasn't touched anything in the house, I'm like, yeah, that's a you problem in that regard, or a relationship thing, because that is a huge part of what are the things that you don't do. I don't manage our entire household down to every single chore. Do I do more? 60, 70%? Probably. I think it's tough to not, mainly because I'm OCD and antsy as hell, and that's just what I do. But there's a huge part of that I think releases a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, really quick before you move on, we made a life change when we moved back to Nashville, and Jonathan's career kind of changed, and that was instrumental for us, and it changed everything, and the way that he was able to be more available in the household and stuff, just like she's talking about. It really, even if he still did stuff, but it's just a different career and different exhaustion and stuff at the end of the day. And now the balance of that, even though once again maybe I err slightly because I'm kind of psycho, I got to be honest. I put a lot of it on me. Little OCD, little about household stuff, but now that he has the energy and stuff, and it's much more balanced.
Sure, getting a chore done.
It's amazing. It's amazing what little bit of even if you can offset, start slow, offset one at a time to someone else, if you're able to in the household. I mean, even heck, if it's your little toddler or child, like what is one
Gabe
little task?
feeds and lets the dogs out in the
I
morning.
mean, that's I'm still working on Miles.
Well, he's 3.5.
Miles
so I
literally
think
looks
that's
at the
different.
door and just goes, no.
Yeah, well, he's also a twerp.
Well, it's cold.
He's
It's
cute.
whatever. I know.
So I think that's an important part of the day. The other thing that I will say that is a benefit and something that we added on, honestly, before we could afford it, but was something me and Mary will agree with this, again, identical, is the cleaner. We both heavily care about cleanliness, tidiness. We're very type A. So I have a cleaner now, come weekly, which is an expense. I'll be honest, for me, it's $600 a month. So it is a lot. They do a great
You're paying less than I am.
They do a wonderful job. Because
You're
my
paying like
house,
100 and a whole cleaning less than me.
yeah, well, they're awesome.
I mean, I love
and
my-
because
I
my
love
house is so clean and tidy, the other parts of the time, I think we agreed upon a lesser price because it's like between cleanings, it's like,
Yeah, we're
and the more you have a cleaner clean, obviously they should charge less because it should be less dirty in theory, and mine certainly is.
Right.
But for a lot of people, that's like, oh wow, but it's like that was life changing, and
I
that
budgeted
released
it in. I budgeted
yeah, because that released so much
Yeah.
time that I put towards my business
Oh,
and my
yeah.
work and my family. So that made my work-life balance because I have that. If you're that person who has to have everything clean, whether it's monthly you start out or whatever it is, and that's where I started, like it was a game changer for me, mentally, physically, work-life balance, all the things.
Yeah.
So
We're
yeah,
not really clothes people, but I'll go another little thing that a lot of people don't think of, because I know Courtney is a clothes person. She's so snazzy, it's so annoying.
clothes,
Clothing.
yeah.
And a lot, I know she talks about sometimes her laundry piling up, and they do a laundry service where someone just picks it up, goes, cleans it, folds it, will do colors, do whatever you want them to do, and it comes back folded to you just to put away. Like that might change somebody's
That
life.
would probably change somebody's life.
No, which I do not wear a lot of different clothes, so it's like whatever.
Yeah, we
but
live out of the washer.
that could literally change somebody. So
Yeah.
it's like there are so many tasks that so many people will do.
Yeah.
Hell, dog walking. Like if you're not a dog walker and you got to walk the dog, it's just like try to think of a couple things maybe that you could afford and budget in that like could
Yeah.
be a game changer.
Sure.
Which is what we did with the cleaning
And we took our first, actually, when we were mobile, I think we, if I'm not mistaken, of course, I laugh. My goal was to move my cleaner, remember, to bi-weekly.
yeah, you used
It was
to tell
monthly
that
at the
story.
time, moved my cleaner bi-weekly, and I wanted a massage every month. Still don't get the massage every month.
We really should put that. We could schedule a time like once a month in the afternoon where we went into that.
Yeah, we could.
We should.
So
Hey,
anyways,
did you reschedule the one for Friday? Okay.
so move the cleaner to bi-weekly.
Our employees got us a massage for Boss's Day, which was yesterday or the day before. So sweet. So
I know.
sweet. Shout out
and
to our
manicures and pedicures, or I don't even know what.
Shout out to our
Way too
employees
much.
for doing that. Probably
Yeah.
for hearing this story 100 times.
Probably.
With that being said, we need to reschedule that.
So the cleaner, moving that cleaner, gosh, I was saying something and you just ruined
sorry.
it.
So budgeting in the weekly cleaning was something that we personally did. Both of us did. We have it weekly. I think it used to be bi-weekly. Now we both moved to a weekly, and it really has changed my life, and it's made my time with my family when I get home at night and stuff. For instance, today when it's getting on the back end of dirty, and I know the cleaner's coming. She comes on Thursday. It really can it can just change the way that I spend my evenings and stuff.
I let my kids not make their beds on the mornings. Tuesday morning, the cleaner comes. It's one of their chores in the morning, and it's the best day of their life because they don't have to make their beds.
There you go. Okay,
But,
so moving
yeah.
on. So, you get your
So
kids to
anyways, it's the things that you don't, I'm adding on those little things so that you can then turn your attention somewhere else. And so I think that sometimes, using those first profits, if you do start this business, instead of, yes, putting them back into the business, but just remember that by doing that, by maybe getting a
That's a good
cleaner
point.
or, something to help offload, like a laundry service, because I can't grow anymore, I can't do anymore because my home is failing. Well, then instead of using the profits for marketing and more clients, why don't you take those first profits
that's a really great point.
yeah, and offload something that might make your life easier and clearer, and your work-life balance stay maintained, so that you can grow your business. And that's what we did.
Yeah, and that rolls right back to a point that she makes all the time, and I know she's already kind of said it this time. Of when you can turn your more of attention back to your business, then that's like free time is not free,
It's like
but
free
that's
marketing.
free way, to get more clients and to increase your business.
Yeah.
Without actually spending any money, even
Yeah.
if it is spending money over, for a cleaner or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so then we both get to this wherever we each other are 98% of the time.
99.
Yeah, whatever med spa. Some days Mary does have does one-on-one trainings.
Like tomorrow?
Yeah, and those are tough days. Those are tough days for her especially, but also for me because so much of what we do is in tandem. And we do have our silos, and she does kind of that clinical, and I kind of do that business and operations, and so it just overlaps, obviously, because we're a clinical company.
But a little plug-in for that is like, it's one reason, training and stuff when you're training with providers or whatever, and I don't want to go down the training lane, but it's important to know how hard a training day is on people who are doing the training, and it's from all levels. We have several amazing trainers in our company now, and their whole day being taken up and dedicated to you, it's
also
so
like 9
important
hours on your feet. I mean, there is no
it's
break.
exhausting.
It's a mental agility exercise. Like, it's a lot.
It's really important. I just want to it's so important to recognize that. And if you're listening and you have a training coming up, I don't care who's doing the training or how big or how small it is, it's quite the day for the trainer, and that's important to remember. So, okay, so yeah, we get to where we're going, and let's pretend it's a normal day. I think both of us do the exact same thing. We walk in, we walk to the desk, at our desk to whatever place we're at. We unload our stuff and organize it the exact way that we want it. When I say computers, our little double screens and my pens over here, my notebooks over here. Yeah, all the cords plugged in or whatever, so we can use them throughout the day. And kind of get started on it. She kind of stays at her desk for the most part. I kind of have to get everything settled, and then I do more of a walk around the space. Like this morning, I literally walked into one of the injection rooms in our training facility, and I just cleaned it for a second. I straightened it up.
I do that.
Well, yeah, but if I'm there, you typically don't really need to because I'm already running around. I have a little bit more. I think Carla has ADD.
Bunch of bullshit.
Carla has some ADD. I have it a little more strongly, or maybe I've acknowledged it. I'm not in denial. And
oh my God.
So I'm a little more all over the place for sure on just different things. I can't necessarily, even though I am medicated, I can't stay focused on one thing for nearly as long as she can. And so some of the things during our day.
Your attention span's under like 30 seconds.
I've literally been sitting and doing this podcast for it.
So let's correct her. If she cares about what's happening, she's very attentive, like you people.
That's a little insulting, but
also true.
It's not.
Okay.
No. Okay. First of all,
I think the point here is that you're medicated.
Care more than somehow my care level is not up here where it needs to be. It's down here, and it's you, the one that's telling me how much I should care about something. So.
I think the lesson here is that she's medicated, and that's a big point. It is.
Up my nose. Oh yeah. Okay, we could go into that. Nothing to joke about, but also it is what it is. I did in February, just this year, life-changing decision to go finally be like, why do I? Mostly it was at home because in anesthesia, this was well, it wasn't Smiley, but especially in anesthesia, I would notice in the operating room, I could I'm forced to be in one place, and I can only do so much, and then you're just I'm obviously paying attention to the patient and stuff, but it's just like whatever. I could watch the surgery, but I had to sit in one room. When I would get home, I would run around like a banshee and just doing multiple different things, and I was having trouble focusing. I would have trouble if it was Smiley, doing Smiley, and just the focus was just all over the place.
Also, not being able to leave it be.
Oh yeah, I could not.
I think that's important. This isn't an ADHD or an ADD conversation, but.
Well, no, but I couldn't relax. But it is important to your point about so. I finally, my thought of ADD was that, well, I can't take medication for ADD because it gives you energy. Like I have so much energy already. I function on 5 hours of sleep. Like I can't take medicine. And so I was always scared to go do that. And then when I finally learned that actually, if you actually need that medicine when it's used appropriately, it effectively calms me down more and, silos my energy into one place where I can focus better. And no, it's not perfect or anything, but I think it's much better than I used to. And more importantly, when I get home at night, I can let the mess on the counter go. That was the life-changing kind of thing for me. Even looking around this room, where we worked all day and we've had an admin today, I can let things go instead of constantly having to just fix or do things right then. So, there's a whole other side to if you think there's a mental illness issue, get treated, but it was life-changing for me. Yeah. So with that being said, during the day when I come in, I do expend a little bit of energy running around. For me, personally, it helps me. And I do get up and down a lot more than Carla, but it's also the nature of my role clinically as well. I'm kind of, in and out with whatever clients are coming in and So I tend to not get to be as focused throughout the day and go from thing to thing to thing. I feel like I get interrupted a little bit more. That requires me to actually like leave my seat.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what I do is obviously computer based. My whole life is on that Mac. It would be depressing if something happened to it. Wait, it did.
Back your stuff
I'll
up
talk
on
about
iCloud.
Get you a
You
hard
know
drive.
what, someone else I know, very sad, and he's okay, but he got his iPad stolen, and his work was all, or his laptop was all on it, and Find My iPhone, all that stuff didn't work, and I don't think it was backed up, so I have got a hard drive and backed my entire computer up recently.
Yeah. So anyways, we run through our day. The day is a lot of obviously just, I mean, there's no need to talk much about it. It's a lot of fires, we are streamlining some stuff, getting some organizational leadership in place, which helps to, design teams and do all kinds of stuff within Smiley so that we can take our next steps in growing and scaling.
I've got to say something that Carla has implement, or she's the process queen and she's really good at it, but something that she said that stuck with me was creating time on your schedule for like specific things, and then basically when it starts on your calendar. And we spoke about admin days. If you're your own CEO and you're your injector or whatever, and you have that one admin day, and how much we think that is so important, and that if you're injecting all 5 days and your day's always broken up, it can be really challenging.
It can be detrimental to almost
to
everyone.
grow your business.
Yeah.
So having an admin day, as much as it's like losing money, is so important. So
but then doing what you're about to say on that admin day.
Yeah.
So an hour is marketing, an hour is this, an hour is that.
And then even more, eventually breaking those down when like, okay, in 30 minutes of the marketing is creating the content, 15 minutes of it is maybe scheduling it, and the other 10 is seeing strategies, what other marketing things could I be doing. And that's your hour. When it starts, when it ends, even if you're not finished with what you're doing. Give or take a few minutes to maybe finish a task, but you're just done. And
it's really difficult for...
Oh, it's so hard.
I think it's very difficult for
like
medical
me.
providers, in general, because they're in the hospital, there is no real time.
Well, you have this 2-hour medication window. You just have
some people
so
are even
much.
4. Like it's just you're just all over the place,
yeah.
putting out fires all day, and so it's hard to do that. And today's a good example. We had a little over an hour scheduled to work on a very specific task, and then I now, but due to the nature of my job, am basically back to back every single day for the most part. So when the next one's that time ended, she wasn't ready for it.
Well, I was unaware of. I did not see that meeting on the calendar, and I thought we had all day.
But the point is that had to stop, and then
I forgot about our owners meeting today. So
I had to start another one, and you just have to honor those times, or else it is tempting to push something back or do something. There's time and place for that, but oftentimes it's just you got to stop and you got to pick it up. That's why taking notes and things like that. I mean, it's just important to organize your day. I say organize, just if you have something specific you're trying to get done, nothing is more frustrating to yourself, whether you're type A or not, when you just have this, okay, great, I have all day, and then you look up at noon and you haven't done a damn thing because you've just been all over the place, trying to do this, that, your mind's flitting all over the place. And again, you don't have to be ADD for this to happen. It happens to everybody who's trying to do 14 things. And then your husband wants you to order groceries, and then you got to get the kid's haircut, and then you got to, it's just too much.
I think a really good tip and I would love for everyone to try this. Just try this on a Saturday, even when, whatever. Even if it's like in relation to your home stuff. Try the scheduling stuff out, and when you come towards the end of the thing, write down the last things you're trying to finish if you aren't able to finish it, and see if you can put it away. See if you can stop and you complete it. Most things are not things that have to be done. And for me, especially with the ADD and like the way that I am, stopping in those moments and not finishing it is just real. Yeah, especially if I felt like I was dedicating time and was finally focused in.
Yeah.
And then to have to stop it feels like I'm failing.
The other thing that people in like the corporate world give so much flack about is the meeting about the meeting. The meetings about the meetings about the meetings. Like we're going to have a meeting about the meeting. A lot of people make fun of it because it's deemed a big waste of time. And there are plenty of those that are a big old freaking waste of time. And it's so frustrating. However, if you have this new idea or this new, I've got to get my marketing under control. To just go try to start to get your marketing under control, that's not the way to go about that.
Yeah.
Whether you're type A or not, having the next admin day, having that hour or 2 hour block to then have the meeting about the meeting, make the agenda or the plan or the goals or the tasks. And this is very difficult for a lot of people, you included, to not want to then complete those tasks at the time you're thinking of them. You're like, oh, I should rename my Facebook page and redo the About Me section because it's way old.
Oh yeah.
And then
gosh,
instead
I am
of
really
you
bad
putting
about
that on instead of putting it on your list because you're trying to organize yourself, you want to go do it.
Oh, in the background of the meeting, I'm like, I'm listening.
Yeah,
I'm listening,
and then she quits listening, and a lot of people do that, and I think a lot of medical professionals do that because again, you're so used to just putting out fires all the time. You have a really hard time doing, and I don't want to call it a project plan, but thinking about a bigger task and then designing what you want, allowing for interruptions, but then make this design phase can't be skipped.
Well, yeah.
This project plan, this business plan, this planning cannot be skipped, and we just want to skip it because we want to take action.
Yeah, so I have a couple things about that. I'm going to say both of them because I'll forget. The one being that we recently did this with some of our strategy stuff, but then the other thing is like really medical providers are the worst time managers, right? Because we don't, like she's saying, it's more about what she was saying about we don't have to.
It's like we have 12 hours.
Yeah,
okay.
You've got those 13 hours or whatever, and as you are constantly, the fires come or what patients need, it's constantly changing what you're doing. And yeah, in these large windows of like, other than medications on time within the window, if it's even possible, if something comes up that's a priority, we're really good about just trumping everything else and just, whatever. And so to that being said, switching over into this business executive whatever role, it's completely opposite. And anesthesia is even worse. I had the worst time doing it because it just was, it was just really hard. And I'm still working on it, and I still get criticized all the time. Well, hold on. And then the second thing I wanted to say was, we recently did this with Smiley with the strategy thing. We looked up over the weekend, and we said that we needed to have a meeting about, basically the meeting about strategy, about what we needed to focus on or how. But before we even said, okay, what do we want to focus on and how, we need to talk about like how we were going to figure out what we wanted to focus. It was like a meeting about
what are we currently doing, and so that you can then
break it down, because
it all leads into you had to plan.
Yeah, and we
really had a meeting about the meeting.
Well, yeah, we didn't. We really didn't do well with that. We still really haven't had that meeting, but
no, we did. That project plan, like that was kind of what came out of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it's done. For the record, but nurses, what makes nurses, and I'm just going to talk about nurses, what makes them such good entrepreneurs a lot of times is you are used to what a business day is normally, which is a bunch of little fires, and you have to get done, let's say you have 5 patients, you've got to get done very specific tasks for these 5 patients, and then also deal with all of the fires that are going to come. And so, but what the problem is when it doesn't translate into something like a business, is when you're a nurse, you know exactly what your job is. And there's not yes, there are different things that come up, and then every once in a while we're like, what is happening? What is the situation? But for the most part, you've got your med passes, you've got your assessments, you've got a chart. Like, we know what the expectation is in our 12 hours. Yeah, in a business, unfortunately, it's that times like 1,000, right?
Yeah.
There's like 1,000 things you have to do and you need to be focused on.
Or you could be doing.
You could be doing. So you can't apply that same mentality that you have as a nurse into business. You've got to plan. So you'll be very good at doing that hour, or focusing on multiple different things and taking care of the fires. But it's that, what are the ones I got to focus on today? Because 12 hours is not enough. And you don't just get to go home, check. I literally checked off the box. I am done. I get to go home and not think about this anymore, from an actual list perspective, not emotional, but I just get to go home and I finished my job and I am done. And if I died tomorrow, my job was done. Yeah, and unfortunately, obviously for a business.
True. I used to argue for anesthesia. That was my favorite part, and I'm not arguing. It is. It was my favorite part because, especially in anesthesia, other than concern for the patient and of course caring about how they're doing or whatever, when I walk out of that OR room, I truly have given care over to somebody else. Same as in a hospital, other than the fact that but there's no going back the next day. Even anesthesia, there's one step further of I literally do not have to. I'm done. I'm done for the night, and I won't have to deal with this tomorrow. Very different, obviously, with owning a business, and maybe that might be one of the negatives that people never, entrepreneurs and flowers and rainbows, and it's so great, but that's the one huge negative I would even argue. Thank God, and I said this recently on somewhere, Instagram or somewhere, I look forward to the day every day I get up. Mm-hmm. On Sunday, I'm literally ooh, tomorrow's Monday. It's pitiful how much I absolutely love doing anything and everything related to Smiley. Of course, there's a couple of things. I can barely think of a couple of things that I don't like doing that I have to do repeatedly with Smiley. I know I'm in the right place because I've never enjoyed doing something more, even anesthesia, which I love. With that being said, I take it home every night. There are nights that once we get the kids down and stuff, which we kind of quit with our day, but we'll get there. You know, I will sit in bed
Yeah.
and work next to my husband, and so there is that level of, you know, you are taking it home with you sometime.
Yeah.
A lot, every day you're taking it home, and being able to switch it off is one thing, but.
So we're pretty specific about that. We did in terms of turning it off. So let's go back to our day. And I think I want to point out some, I think, unique characteristics of myself, which are the same for you, that don't always apply to everybody. And so how you overcome those is up to you. But I'll do that kind of at the end as you look at your day. Like the fact that I can lay my head down and my husband's literally like, I don't know how you do it. 7 seconds later, I can be asleep. And it doesn't matter how, I mean, I have some nights where I can't sleep. It depends on the situation, but I mean, it has to be pretty bad. I got to be pretty tore up about something. I don't care if I don't care what it is. There's almost no reason why I don't just fall asleep. So I get a full night's sleep almost every single night, you know, minus getting up to pee and stuff like that. But that's a unique thing that not everybody can do. So anyways, just going through some of those things. Turning it off. Like when we go out of town, unless someone talks to me or it's something I want to do, I may not think about Smiley at all. I may go a whole day unless I just want to.
I don't think you're that good at that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it just depends on what the situation is.
Well, you said it, unless you want to.
If I'm doing something I enjoy, I don't think about it at all. Like when we were in Kansas City and we're like in, you know, the afternoon, like doing the breakout room. And I don't think, well, a lot of people have a hard time with that. They can't enjoy what they're doing because they're so inundated with thoughts about their business. So I think those are some unique things that my brain can go on and off and turn it off and think about something completely different and then flip it back to something else. I think not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
Or can do that like it's a skill. It's not a skill. It just is what it is.
So,
but anyways, our day. Sorry.
Well, that's good. I was going to say a couple of
We're
things.
talking probably so fast. If anybody's listening to this, we sped up to the point of like.
Yeah, I don't really know why I feel rushed. I think it's because I want to go run because today is my day to go run. But no, I don't want to rush through this, but I just can't help it. And also we talk very fast, especially when we're pinging back off and forth each other. But anyway, no, what I was going to say is we do have things that we've scheduled that are like non-negotiable. And today's a good example. Our Wednesday is our admin day. We've already spoken to that. We have a kind of an admin meeting and then an owner's meeting with the three. Courtney is on it, and we have that every single Wednesday. And unless there is a medical emergency or something like that, we have that every single week. And there are some things that I think are worth scheduling, maybe not so much in the beginning, but then maybe it goes back to scheduling out things on your admin day that you, without fail, you
Content creation. For all you new ones.
Pay attention to. Yeah, we have content creation. Those are not on our admin days, but especially for Carla, especially when you're starting out and it's not easy, another avenue we don't want to run down, but setting that time aside to actually make it and forcing yourself to do it. If you're in the social media game, which you should be, if you're in medical aesthetics and you're watching this, then that's really important.
Yeah.
So,
but the day ends. Our day ends at least 3 days a week, sometimes 4. We try to leave at 3:30.
Yeah.
3:45.
4.
3:30 to 4, which again speaks to we get started at 8 and get done at 4. Which we're pretty. I think one of the.
I guess sometimes between 3 and 4.
One of the characteristics I do think is important, and this is not it's not a skill, but I do believe that some people produce in the same 4-hour period a lot less than other people, and by that I mean how do you use technology? How do you just all that type of stuff. So both of us are able to produce in an 8-hour period or 7-hour period a lot. Yeah. There's a lot that gets done because we can stay focused, and partly because of the team we have around us, things like that.
Yeah.
So we're able to leave, and I think it's important to cut it off, and then sure, maybe there is a day where after a week of cutting it off, you do just finally have a day where you're like, you know what, I need that couple extra hours. I've got to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. However, most every time we cut it off and we leave and we go run before we pick up our kids.
Yep.
Our kids go to school until 3, and then they have aftercare program, which we have a blessed situation where it is an incredibly affordable, safe, fantastic place at their school. That they go, they're together, they play, they go to play. I mean, it's at their school. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, 3 of our 4 children, 2 and 2,
are
go
together.
to the same school, and then Jackson daycare, and
they get pissy when we pick them up.
Yeah, the
pretty
3
much.
that are in aftercare. So I try to pick them up between 4:30 and 5.
Yeah.
Because
any earlier and they get mad. Yeah. So pick up the kids. So at the point we leave here and go run, sometimes a lot of times we talk while we're running. But then once I get my kids, we have about a 20-minute drive home, and it's like everything business goes out the window for me. I'm big on talking
Those
about
next 2 hours, pretty much.
yeah, from let's say 5. For me, it's about 7:30 or 8 now.
For me, it's like 7 to 7:30. 7:30.
Yeah.
7:30.
And then we'll just see from there in terms of whether or not it's later, because like sometimes I take a bath and other times a lot of times I don't do
told her
anything.
Last night
yeah.
I was supposed to do something. I was going to do something, I said I was going to do something last night, and I ended up doing I needed to do a few chores before, because we were out of town last weekend, we're out of town this weekend, and so I did a few chores before and didn't do whatever I needed to do for work.
My big thing with the nighttime for us, and we have always put our kids to bed at 7 or 7:30. We just said we were going to move it back this year, this school year, to 7:30. So we go up at 7, and it's pretty much lights out at 7:30. And because that nighttime is me and Brad's time. I mean, we've always put our kids to bed from the very beginning, because I'm not willing, and they also need it. They're 7 and 5. Like, they sleep until 6. He gets up at the same time every morning, whether I put him to bed at 7 or 10.
Well, the main thing is that we both are on the same page, that is our time with basically our husbands.
Yeah.
And so while I will every now and then sit in bed next to him with a computer or whatever, the point is, and that's not ideal. The point is like, that is my time for, like, I'm not,
You also get to see him during the day some too, which is nice.
Well, and I don't want to keep my kids up later, and I don't, so that's just that's both of our reasonings for doing that. And for the most part, after the kids go to bed and get done with Miles or whatever,
pretty much done. I mean, my day with Smiley pretty much ends at 3:30 or 4. Now, there is interruptions, like someone texts or messages or whatever.
I have a call at 5:30 today. Randomly.
Yeah, like there are some things, so there's always going to be some of those things, but honoring that nighttime stuff, because we're just huge on marriage first. My marriage is my first priority in my life, and ahead of my kids and everything else. And so we've always done that. We do other things at night. We have date night every week.
I've been bad about it recently, but yeah.
Well, we only had because the Tuesday night thing with Brad, because he was playing in a basketball league, and we've been out of town a lot. But we do date night every single week. Me and Brad have gone and played trivia together on Tuesdays for 15 years, and we'll continue to do that. And Mary and Jonathan now always come with us. And then for me, Friday night is special at our house because it's movie night. We do movie and pizza with the kids. So those are 2 non-negotiable nights. And then
Wednesdays we do
back to like a couple of things we don't do. Like, we don't watch TV at night. Now, we'll get in bed and I'll watch a show with Brad if that's what we're gonna do. But even then, it's very limiting depending on my interest in the show. I might read or something like that. But the TV doesn't go on at night, and really during the day, even on the weekends, I don't know. I mean, it's just surprising how much time you realize you waste sitting in front of a TV. In all the, in all the different ways. So that's one of the things that I do not do.
Yeah.
I was talking to Mercedes earlier and Adrian about something else I don't do. And again, this isn't a good or bad thing. So I don't want it to be like, oh gosh, feel bad about yourself because you do this. I do not scroll. I'm not a scroller on Instagram and Facebook. Now, we're both very active on social media for our business.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm not on it, but I don't get scroll a lot. Now, every once in a while, I do get into rabbit holes. I mean, like every once in a while, I'm probably like, I just will get giggly and just giggle at some reels, but I'm not a scroller. So I don't spend a lot of time on social media for pleasure or whatever. And then the other big thing that I don't do is I'm not a shopper. I think a lot of people, it would be shocking if you looked at your screen time and on where you're spending your time, if it's not social media for pleasure or shopping. I think it's.
I've never thought about shopping. I don't think.
Yeah, not a shopper. So I don't enjoy going into a store. I don't enjoy shopping online.
Now, if that's one of your hobbies and you enjoy it.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But I think it's important to call out, like, when people say, how do you do what you do? You exercise, you maintain a marriage, your kids, your business, whatever.
How do you fit it all in? Yeah.
Because
I would love, the next time someone says that to me, if there's time, I'd love to be like, well, run through
your day and tell me what you do.
Run through your day, and let's run through mine, and let's see how I fit all this in, and
I do tell people from the moment my eyes open, feet hit the floor, until the moment I go to bed, I am moving and shaking.
Yeah.
And I consider that time with my husband at the end of the night part of that. Like, there's a part of it's all full and efficient and used.
And value. And
value. And then someone might be like, well, when do you relax? And I'm like, running is relaxing. Like, you don't have to be sitting on your butt to be relaxing.
I think and maybe that's something that, like, not to get into very much, but it's like, I think that's a common thought or perception or opinion. It's opinion, and that's fine. Is that relaxation has to be,
sitting doing
with
nothing.
your feet propped up and scrolling, or sitting with your feet propped up and just like, I don't know, but or in a chair, outside looking at the stars, and it's like.
And our brains just don't work that way. My brain wants to be engaged 24/7, except when I sleep, and then I flip that sucker off like a switch. And
I don't flip her off quite as fast, but I just sleep fine.
Yeah.
But I think I sleep well because I stay engaged. So that's another thing that's just like, this should be something that's like studied, and it has been. It's like, okay, so you stay engaged all day long and you're shaking and moving all day long. I don't even want to think about my average step count and all that stuff. And then I sleep super well at night. I think there's a correlation there of
Oh, sure, you're using up.
Up and doing it, not all physical.
Well, we also have to do that. In some ways, I've got to be moving all day longer. I won't use up the gosh darn energy I have.
Yeah, we do have a lot of energy, but the mental use of energy, the mental energy,
right.
Using that being focused. Like, I remember, like, I do crosswords in the OR, and anything I could to keep my brain just constantly firing. As if that wasn't enough, I needed an extracurricular something to do.
Yeah.
And that's what'll get you to the sleep that.
Yeah.
If you're not sleeping well, maybe it is like, what are you, and I don't want to get into like, are you scrolling on your phone in bed and stuff like. I mean, like, are you using enough of your body and mental, percentage down, draining it enough?
I do say to Brad, as soon as we turn the lights off, if he's on his phone at all, I'm like, you're killing my melatonin. Turn your phone off, lights out.
Yeah.
Phone's down. There's no TV on at night because there are studies about all that.
Oh yeah, we don't. Yeah, we don't do that either.
We don't want none of that. But like, it is relaxing. Like tonight, we are going to make tacos, and I can guarantee you that while I'm making tacos and with Bradley, our kids will be dancing, and there will be on echo the "It's Raining Tacos" song, and we will be dancing around like fools in the kitchen. Like, that's relaxing. Like, I just think that to your point, like, people don't always like. Taco night, we
our
dance.
Dad
It's raining tacos.
says that to us a lot. You need to find time to relax.
And I'm like, I am relaxed.
But that stuff is relaxed, and that's fine if relaxing to not necessarily him. Well, to him is fishing. He's still doing an activity. It's just a much more calmer activity. But
just because I'm jumping around singing "It's Raining Tacos," it's a great song. Out of the sky,
this
tacos.
sounds like a really solid lyrics. Like they really
just open your mouth and close your eyes.
You're right. Like I said, really.
It's a great song. We literally sing it every time we make
Probably
tacos.
won an award. Okay, so.
That's great.
Anyways.
So that ends the day. That's really it at night. I don't think anything else. I mean, again, I do sometimes work when Brad's not home. My husband's a basketball coach, if I didn't say that. So starting now until like March, he's home late or not home until very late. So that obviously releases some. I know it's tough.
I need extra therapy session just to deal with her.
I know. I don't like it because I like my husband. But so that you can fill up some time at night, and me and Brad often laugh because sometimes we do say, wish there was more time in the day. We're like, well, if we didn't, just chill or do nothing from 7:30 until we go to bed, which is whatever we're doing. I mean, it can be a variety of things.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, like I said, I definitely still utilize that time if I need to, but
yeah. Okay, so that's both of our days. Weekends, I'm not a worker on the weekends unless I just, we do have, our kids get like an hour of pad time on Saturday mornings where they get to play their little Roblox or whatever. So, if they're doing that, sometimes I'm sitting next to them doing it too, maybe. But for the most part, we're very active people on the weekend. So, that's the general day, and then we travel a lot. I don't know. I guess it's just being efficient with the days and the time that we have.
Oh my
gosh. Mary doesn't know the password to her computer because we were going to do our Patreon shout-outs, but she doesn't have her password.
Patreon shout-outs. I already said what we were going to do next week.
Yes, next week Courtney's going to be back in town, so we're going to have another episode with her, which will probably be a lot more valuable. I was trying to think of anything else I do during my day that keeps me organized. I do have a skylight calendar. That's been fun for a lot of things. Anywhere that you can take off the to-dos you have each day, I think as moms especially, and if the dads are listening, you too, sure, but mostly moms, in this scenario is like remembering all the little things. So like, okay, Gabe has cross country on Mondays and Wednesdays, so we have to pack him an extra snack and an extra pair of clothes. It's just hard to remember some of that stuff sometimes. So I got a skylight fairly recently in the last few months, and it's like a screen, and it syncs with your calendar on your phone. That's another thing. If you don't use a calendar on your phone to send yourself reminders, that's just a good way to do it. People are like, how do you remember everything? Well, if I need to do something with the information, then
I literally have like forgotten my computer password. That's been the same forever.
Then I send myself an email. Like I just send it to
happen?
Carla at SmileyAesthetics.com, and it might be anything. Like Adrian may ask me to do something, and right now I'm not going to do it right now, so I send myself an email, or I make her send me an email, one of the two. But a lot of personal stuff, buy Gabe new socks, whatever the case is. So finding out ways to organize and to release my brain from tasks that I need to remember. And so examples that are sitting by, I use my inbox as a checklist, and I've recently gotten Mary to do that, and it's very valuable. My inbox in and of itself is completely empty or clean, or only has things that I need to respond to or that I need to do. And so I use it as a to-do list. It makes perfect sense to me, and then I file everything else away with simple labels in Gmail. I also have like nudges on. So if I send something to somebody, I get a 3-day nudge. So if they haven't responded back in 3 days on any email I send, then it nudges me, did you need to follow up with this? And then I can follow up with things. So there's so much that technology can do. And that skylight, I use that, and I put a reminder on my phone to pack Gabe's clothes, what syncs over, and it bings at me in the morning at 7 a.m. so that we remember to do X, Y, Z. It also has a task list, like a chore list. So like Gabe has let the dogs out in the morning, and did you put your homework folder in your backpack, and Mommy and Daddy have packed lunches, and just they like to check stuff off.
Yeah.
So, but it's just useful tools that have helped, I think, make my day even more efficient, which then I'll shut up because I know we're ending this. I'm often careful about that because I think what technology has allowed us to do, which is both good and bad, is to be so much more efficient, but instead of taking that extra time, because our traditional work week hasn't changed and it's still 40 hours, even though we can produce so much more in that 40 hours. So instead of being smart like Europeans or anybody else and making it now a 4-day work week because we can still produce the same that we did 10 years ago or 20, we have just crammed even more into a 40-hour week. And so I think it's being so careful even in your own personal life that, yes, your phone has made it great that you can do so much more, but by doing that, are you just filling up that time with other needs or to-dos or whatever the case is? And so we're pretty mindful of that I do things that help me get things off my mind, but not necessarily, or like it's more just trying to release some space as opposed to, don't get overly efficient. I don't need Alexa ordering toilet paper for me every 2 weeks. I mean, that's cool if people do that, but I don't know, by doing that, it's like you just create more space to fill it up.
Yeah, or just the answer is you can create more space, just be mindful of not filling it all right back up.
Pretty much,
with other stuff.
Okay, Patreon shout outs. So we have some new Patreon members. You did it last time, I'll do it this time. I can hardly see those names. My vision is failing and it's unfortunate. Macy N, Kathy K, Kelly S, just Lauren, and Elizabeth H. Those are new patrons from this week.
Yeah, I feel like that list is short, but with that, but yeah, pretty sure that's everybody. If we missed you, so sorry in the last week. Plug for our Patreon, working so hard on it. We put in so much content and stuff.
Some new legal stuff this week.
Yeah, it's really like every day. I keep saying we'll add stuff because I don't want the expectation to be that stuff comes every day, but at this point stuff is getting put on it every single day. It's amazing.
I put on a cool video about like exactly what like a mobile
appointment
from a mobile injector for Botox, which I think is
we have some stuff about non-competes on there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be uploading some more some different consents.
Oh, you have a good round 2 of a lip
filler.
That was like a very small lips that knew we're gonna need multiple sessions, and she ditched to the second session.
Just a ton of stuff on there. I can't even remember everything that I end up putting on the week because I just see so much stuff. So yeah, it's patreon.com/SmileyAesthetics. Go subscribe to it, and there's some stuff on the free, but obviously the meat and potatoes is on the subscription, and we're just trying to bring as much as we can at an affordable price, and just let out all the secrets we can from legal, business, clinical, and there's some marketing stuff on there too. Like I said, next week Courtney's going to be back, or the episode will have Courtney on it, which is really exciting, and then I think the next week we'll have a guest, an outside attorney who's going to come on and give his perspective on some things.
And then the week after that, we're going to talk to a mobile injector about their experience.
Yeah, if we remember to. That's what we're going to do. But either way, that's upcoming. So we're going to start interviewing some people to really get some just some different content on here. As always, if there's we went through the questions that we normally do at this time, kind of during the day. They're really general about what our days look like. But keep sending those in, please, whether it's via the Patreon or the YouTube channel, which is just at Smiley Aesthetics, because it gives us ideas on what we can talk about that are hopefully helpful, at the very least entertaining. And yeah.
And then if you enjoy this, again, like always, if you hear this, like and subscribe, but also, share to anybody, especially if you're in the aesthetics community. Again, we're trying to bring remotely entertainment, but valuable information to people. So, yeah, okay.
Okay, and I'm at Injector Smiley on Instagram. She's at C Smiley Injector, and then our attorney is at Court Approved Aesthetics. And then, of course, we have a Smiley Aesthetics page, so we put a lot of stuff on that as well.
Yep, this is, that's it.
Cool.
All right, bye.
Bye.
We gotta quit doing that.